Hello, story lovers! Welcome to Nana's Fairy Tales, where we share amazing and interesting stories. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get notified when we upload another enchanting tale.
In a little village set between rolling hills and flowing waters, where the sun and the moon kept an eye on the land in their time, where the day begins with farmers rushing to go and attend to the crops and veggies in their farms, and ends with the villagers rushing home to take a rest, where the children gather around their fathers to hear stories about creation, the myth of how their village came to be, and how the warriors fought fearlessly and conquered territories and kept them safeguarded. In this village, there was a little girl named Ada. Ada was the last daughter of her parents. She loves helping her mother in doing the house chores and going to sell vegetables in the market. Ada was obedient, humble, and kind. Her mother is always laughed at in the village for having only female children without a single boy child. This gave Ego, Ada's mother, sleepless nights. Sometimes she cried herself to sleep because of the hurtful words people said to her. Ada would always console her mother and tell her that she would do whatever a male child does for their parents. Ada made her mother find peace and solace in her. While her older sisters are all over the place playing and having fun, Ada will stick by her mother's side, helping her with all the things she needs. Her mother calls her the child of consolation. Apart from doing house chores and going to the market with her mother, there is another thing Ada is very good at, and that is music. She sings all the time. She sings while doing the dishes, she sings at the farm, even while she goes to the market. The villagers call her the Songbird. Every night, while people must have gone to bed, Ada would sit under the baobab tree in their compound and sing melodiously. She would sing songs that would send people to sleep and make them have sweet dreams. Her songs can calm the raging heart and bring peace to the troubled spirit. Whenever she sings, a colorful bird sits at a nearby tree and watches her in admiration. Once she stops singing, the bird flies away. One day, Ada went towards the bird as she sang. She brought out her finger and the bird perched on it. She sang on and the bird kept looking at her lips as they moved in sweet melody. When Ada stopped singing, the bird began to sing. Ada started imitating the sound of the bird. As the bird sang, she sang with it, and Ada became more skilled and grounded in singing. People marveled at this new development and wondered how she keeps getting better at her skill. This continued for days, and one day, Ada asked the bird, "Who are you?" And to her utmost surprise, the bird replied, "I am your today and tomorrow, your guide to a journey of 1,000 miles. I am your voice and the melody of your songs. Your songs and the sound of your flute will bring you wealth and fame." Ada looked in amazement as the bird said these things. When the bird stopped talking, it flew away and left one of its feathers with Ada. While Ada was going to the market one morning, she met an old woman with a whole lot of loads, struggling to walk to the market. Ada quickly ran towards her and helped her with some of her loads and carried them to the market. The woman smiled at her and followed her behind. When they got to the market, Ada dropped the woman's loads for her, and as she was about to leave, the woman gave her a flute and said to her, "Your life shall be more beautiful than the feathers of a peacock. You shall find wealth in lack and peace in all adversary." The flute looked so adorable, Ada thanked her earnestly and left happily with the flute. Ada's possession of the flute brought about a new dispensation in her life. As Ada went home, she tied the feather of the bird on the flute and did all the chores in the house hastily so that she could test her new flute. When it was evening and people were retiring to their rooms for the night's rest, Ada began to play her flute. The melody from the flute was magical. People gathered around her in awe to listen to the melody of her flute. Birds of all species flew to trees nearby to listen to the blues that Ada's flute produced. Life for Ada became beautiful. Not only do people get charmed by her melody, they offer her gifts whenever she plays the flute. What Ada didn't know was that the flute was magical. It has magical powers. One season, the harmattan was so strong that crops began to wither away. Ada felt bad about this. The vegetables she planted with her mother in their farm are beginning to die away. One day, she sat on their farm and began to play her flute, begging the gods to send down rain and save them from the drought, for all their streams were dried up. As she played her flute, droplets of rain began to fall from the sky. When she noticed this, she played her flute even more, and a heavy downpour began. It rained and children danced in the rain. The crops began to flourish and the animals shouted for joy. The villagers wondered how rain visited the village after a long time of drought. One day, they realized that it was only when Ada plays her flute that it rains. They paid homage to her and lavished gifts on her. They called her the daughter of the gods. When couples of friends are having a heated argument or fight, Ada will be beckoned on. The sound from her flute brought peace and calmness. Friends reconcile at the sound of her flute and ignite their love for each other once more. Ada brought so much joy and peace to her mother, and her father regretted ever leaving them because of a boy child. For Ada has brought an unusual joy to her mother. They lived in abundance, for people give her gifts each time her flute releases its magical sounds. This became Ada's lifestyle till so many years later. Their kingdom had conflict with another village over land disputes. This resulted to war. The rival village told them to prepare for war. This troubled all the people in Ada's land. Even the young, old, and the unborn felt the chills of the coming war. The people panicked, for the rival village was mightier than them. Ada asked her friend the bird what she should do, and it told her to carry her flute to the battlefield with the warriors on the day of the battle. That day, while the opposing village trooped into their village with rage and terror, the whole people in Ada's village were gripped by fear. Their legs shook, their hearts stormed out loud, and their whole body trembled. Ada ran to the king and the warriors and told them not to fear, that the gods will give them victory in the battle. They looked at this fragile-looking little girl but didn't know what to say to her. She followed the warriors to the battlefield. As the war raged, she began to play her flute. The sound from the flute confused the rival village. They turned and began to kill themselves. When their captain saw what was happening, he signaled his remaining soldiers and turned back to run. An arrow shot him in the chest. He fell from his horse and was captured. The warriors in Ada's village carried her on their shoulders and hailed her the child of the gods. The whole villagers sang praises to her. The king gave an order and a royal castle was built for Ada and her family. She also became one of the king's advisors even as a young girl. When there is an issue, she only has to play her flute and the gods will direct them on what to do. This continued, and many years later, After she grew old and died, people remembered her as the child of the gods, and her memory lived on. She became one of the legends in the village even while she lived and after her death. Thank you for watching. I hope you had an amazing time listening to this enchanting tale. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get notified when we upload another amazing story, for we have so many amazing stories yet to be told. Till then, see you around.